Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today, I want to talk about data privacy and personhood credentials. So, personhood credentials is a way for organizations to be able to identify people in digital systems, whether or not, for example, they're in a centralized system. So, for example, the way that identity is handled a lot of times in systems right now, you have to sign up. You try to authenticate yourself in some way in a particular system. And depending on what system that you're going into, you may have to create a credential or a login or some way to identify yourself in every single different system. The problem with this is that that's a lot of work for individuals. In terms of companies, they don't know whether someone is real or not, whether they're a fake person or not, especially if they're dealing with data on the internet. And also, what's happening in digital systems right now, we're getting to a place where a lot of the computing is happening in a decentralized fashion. So, for example, let's say at the dawn of the internet, a lot of the things that you wanted to do on the internet, you have to go to a particular big company, like Google or Microsoft to be able to authenticate yourself in certain systems. What's happening now is that people have smartphones, they have other ways that they can connect. And because those devices have more computing power and people want to move towards, for a security and privacy standpoint, move towards more of a decentralized situation where people can keep credentials maybe on their device and then they authenticate with a service without having to provide their personal information in a way that makes them vulnerable to cyber attacks or privacy infringements. So the Decentralized Identity Foundation, called DIF, they are one of the organizations that is really promoting these personhood credentials, also called PHCs. And so the idea behind this type of endeavor is to find a way to create a decentralized way for people to connect or exchange information with identity systems to authenticate themselves, where each person has like one credential that they can use anywhere on the internet or on the web. They want to have it so that people can like recertify, recertify that they are who they say that they are. Do it in a way where people aren't having to exchange their personal information in a way that makes them a target for cybercrime or privacy infringements, and do this in a fluid way where there's kind of minimal data exchange and minimal data storage. This is a big deal. There are many other uh, organizations that are also looking at this, including Human Code, Ton Society, WorldCoin. So they're all circling around the same idea, which is how do we get people in identity systems? How do we do it in a way that's decentralized, where we're moving away from having everyone go to a particular place or re-identifying or recertifying themselves in all these different systems, and then doing it in a way where there is a minimal data exchange. We've also seen a paper on personhood credentials that was published with experts, co-authored with experts from places like Harvard, MIT, Oxford, OpenAI, Microsoft, around personhood credentials. We're going to be hearing a lot more about personhood credentials. I think in the past, some of the talk around personhood credentials were more talking about what I think about as sovereign identity. So, an identity that you carry with you where you don't have to uh, create new identity information or exchange more information with different systems. You're kind of like a bank of your own information, and then you can authenticate wherever. So, this is a big, tall order. If this is able to happen, and I think the technology exists that it can happen, this will be a situation where it will create less friction for people. And then they'll be able to, for example, have one identity that they can use in multiple places, as opposed to right now, where you're creating different identities or different ways to authenticate yourself in different systems, which I think is unsustainable. So it remains to be seen how personhood credentials will pan out. I think that there will be a solution that is come up with to be able to make it easier for people to be able to authenticate themselves and stop some of the fraud of fake profiles or fake identities. Also, having a system where people don't have to keep uploading or keep sharing their personal and private information will help cut down drastically things like cybercrime or privacy infringements or privacy issues, because you are authenticated within this particular personhood system, and then you use that identity all across the web with anything that you need to authenticate yourself with. So thank you so much, and that's it.